Rome, the Eternal City. We went here on our 35th wedding anniversary and spent 5 days in Rome and fell in love with the place. It's an amazing mix of modern and ancient. It's a city older than most places you'd ever visit. One of the first things we did was travel to the Roman Forum. We took a wonderful tour of this area that has many ancient artifacts just scattered amongst the grounds. The Roman Forum was like the business area of Rome in ancient Roman Empire. It's where merchants met. It's where professionals would sell their services and deal and so forth. And so it's a very big area filled with lots of temples that were later converted to churches. It's an amazing place to see because everything here is, 1,000 years old or so. So it's an interesting place to visit. Amongst the ruins of the Roman Forum is the grave of Julius Caesar. You can see that here. This grand archway at the edge of the Roman Forum is very interesting because on the inside there's a relief that shows a menorah, so some sort of Jewish influence. Here you'll see in the middle of the screen Palatine Hill. Palatine Hill was the area that the rich folks lived in Rome. It's one of the 7 hills. We walked up onto Palatine Hill. There's these orange groves and these very nice houses, and then you get this wonderful overall view of the Roman Forum and the Colosseum, and past that the city of Rome itself. The Colosseum is this huge arena structure that was built in the early period of the Roman Empire. It was used for these grand tournaments and to showcase the Caesar's, his wealth and his influence and so forth. They would have not only the tournaments, but they would also have exotic animals that would be brought to the Colosseum and would be used in the tournaments with the gladiators and so forth. And here you can start to see the floor and the underground where the animals and the gladiators were kept. The top was covered with sand, and they had several of these elevator mechanisms so that they would shoot an animal up through the sand, and he would pop up in the middle of the Colosseum floor to great applause of the crowds. The altar of the fatherland is a memorial to the first king of unified Italy, Victor Emmanuel II. We of course took in some of the more interesting sights in Rome, such as the Spanish Steps, which lead up to the Spanish embassy. Rome is also full of fountains. This fountain, Fontana del Nadia, is just down from our hotel at the St. Regis. And it was gorgeous, especially of a night when it was all lit up. And right next to the hotel was Fontana del Mose, or the Moses Fountain. This was right next to where we stayed at the St. Regis. And then, of course, there's the famous Trevi Fountain. This fountain was right outside one of the must-see locations in Rome, the Pantheon. The Pantheon was designed by Raphael, and its dome is a geometric amazement, the way it's designed and the way it holds itself up without the necessary supports that you would think it would have to have. The room itself is filled with artwork, early Christian artwork, paintings, statues, reliefs. They're amazing to see. The Pantheon is also the final resting place of three individuals: Raphael, Emmanuel II, the first king of the unified Italy, and Umberto I, who was another king in Italy. Walking around Rome is an experience. There are narrow cobblestone streets. There are these wide cobblestone streets. There are very busy cobblestone streets. But everywhere you look, there is architecture and art and just amazing things to see. Between the Colosseum and the Altar of the Fatherland are these sculptures of the Caesars. Everywhere you look, you'll see a church or a temple that has fantastic architecture. There are colonnades to heroes. There are figures to philosophers. It's just amazing. Every corner you turn, there's another artwork or another statue or another sculpture. These four reliefs that you'll see here made up the four corners of an intersection that we walked through. No idea why that's significant, but there they were, and just amazing to see. Every courtyard has a statue and greenery and so forth in it. Even the government buildings are ornate, and they have their guards in their traditional uniforms. Just walking around Rome is like experiencing a museum every time you walk out the door. Rome is filled with churches. We went into several, and they have gorgeous interiors We decided that we would do a separate video about churches, so watch for that coming up in the near future. One of the other plazas that we visited was Piazza Novana, where the Fountain of the Four Rivers, or Fontana Fiume, is located. The Fountain of the Four Rivers is an amazing fountain to see. There's these intricate sculptures that surround the fountain. It's just very detailed and very enjoyable to examine. Adjacent to the fountain is the Church of St. Agnes in Agony, and we got to hear their bell tower. Along with the Fountain of the Four Rivers and the church, the plaza also has several restaurants. We decided to enjoy lunch there, and I tried the Roman delicacy of the sopa fria, and then we listened to some musicians in the square. We also visited the Piazza de Popolo. This interesting piazza has an obelisk in the middle, and then these two twin churches, Santa Maria de Miracles and Santa Maria Monsanto, that are side by side. There's also a Leonardo da Vinci museum in this piazza, as well as another church that we were most interested in seeing, Santa Maria de Popolo, which has some very interesting artwork in it. Make sure you check out our other video to see more about the inside of that church. Castle Sant'Angelo, or Castle of the Holy Angel, is a marvelous structure in Rome across the Tiber River. The castle was originally designed as a mausoleum for Emperor Hadrian, but it was later converted into a fortress that the popes would use, and now is utilized as a museum. The statues of the angels all along the bridge are breathtaking and very, very interesting to see. And if you walk around the backside of the castle, you can see the large statue of St. Michael the Destroyer on top of the building. Rome was beautiful and interesting, and we loved every minute that we spent there.